There is a reason I don't have Twitter on my phone anymore. There is a huge reason. And I think one of those reasons is the conversation that surrounded Cincinnati Bengals Twitter on Sunday late in that football game. And it's just, deep breath. There's a lot of things to get into on this version of the 3 a.m. Coney. Another Steelers loss, 11 in a row, 10 in a row in the regular season. And we know that 11th one, the 2016 wildcard game, which, by the way, I made my newfound Bengals fan girlfriend watch without telling her the result. Just the highlights, though. I didn't put her through the whole thing. And maybe that was bad luck to do during Steelers week because Pittsburgh annihilated Cincinnati. Pittsburgh annihilated Cincinnati. And the first thing I want to say before we get into, I think, the main topic of the show, which was the overreaction on Twitter for Joe Burrow staying in the game. First off, I want to say the thing that annoys me most about the National Football League, its fans, its prognosticators, its commentators, its watchers, the thing that annoys me the most is when for 364 days out of a year, whenever we get the schedule, whenever we predict out, when we don't have the Sunday morning hope shining on us, we will say one thing will definitely happen. There's no way it doesn't happen. Now, find me the reasonable, rational Bengals fan that when this schedule came out before the season, thought Joe Burrow was going to go into Heinz Field against the number one defense in the league and win that game. I didn't. Nobody else did. Even the most optimistic Bengals fans didn't. I predicted the Bengals would go 9-7 and make the playoffs, and I didn't think they'd win this game. In fact, I thought they'd get blown out. I said it on the 3 a.m. Coney. So if we all think this, if we all thought this, and for 364 days, we all expected this result, why on earth would I change my opinion at all about this Cincinnati Bengals team after what we said would happen happened? It's insane. It's an insane thing we do. So my opinion is this. I thought if they could win one game, whether that be Ravens, Browns, Colts, Titans, Steelers, if they could win one of that stretch of 5, I said that would be a major success. Major success. And then if they won 2, they'd make the playoffs. I think the playoffs are probably out now. But I think they're winning the next 4 games. The Dolphins one's a little tougher than you think, but I just got a feeling Joe versus Tua, Joe's going to show up that day. I think this team will be 6-1 heading into the next Pittsburgh Steelers game, which is the one that matters because it's the second time, because it's at home, because it's on Monday Night Football. But what I urge you, Cincinnati Bengals fans, to do, and what I urge every single fan of every other football team to do, never, ever change your opinion after something happens that you said was going to happen all year. The Bengals' offensive line looked overwhelmed at times. Well, knew that was going to happen. The Bengals couldn't stop or pressure Ben Roethlisberger. Well, knew that was going to happen. The Bengals were lacking depth at cornerback and looked horrendously confused on defense. That's been happening all year. We knew that was going to happen. Right? Now, the fumbles, I get the special teams. Joe was way off in the second half, although the wind is a little more than people want to give credit for, but I'm not going to make excuses because Joe's not going to make excuses. Right? But this game was never going to be won. This Steelers team, this is the Pittsburgh Steelers, ladies and gentlemen. This team has been stomping our face since Anthony Munoz retired. And you think when they have their best team under their third head coach since the 1960s, that they're going to roll over at home against us? Against a rookie quarterback? Seriously? I don't think we should change our opinions whatsoever about this Cincinnati Bengals team. They're going to beat Washington. They're going to beat the Giants. They're going to win close against the Dolphins. They're going to smoke the Cowboys. And then we're all going to be flying high heading into Monday night. And there is the real test of the Zach Taylor era. If they do this on Monday night, after winning 3 of the next 4 or 4 of the next 4, then yes, we are 100% confirmed, no doubt about it. This is John McKay. This is a horrendous coach. If you had to make me guess whether Zach Taylor was a good head coach or not, I would guess he is not. But that's not the judgment we're making here. We thought they'd lose this game. I thought they'd be 2-6-1. In fact, I said 2-6-1 would have been a good thing. We all said it. We thought 1-7-1 was hunting this team down. It didn't. It's 2-6-1. Now you have the stretch you've been staring at since the beginning of the season. Now you got to go 3-1. Now you got to go 4-0. Or Zach Taylor was 100% not the answer, and I think the front office would notice that if they don't win 3 of the next 4 or 4 of the next 4. That is what I want to emphasize. Calm down. Calm down. Okay? I haven't gotten on Twitter because I know it's been crazy. If I'm told about how crazy it is, I know it's crazy. I don't need to go on the feed and see it. I don't need to see you guys just randomly deciding that this would have been different today, that the corners would have been able to cover, that there would have been a pass rush, that the line would have blocked a little better. The only thing you should have been surprised about was Joe's performance, but after seeing the wind in the first 3 minutes of the game, I didn't think anybody was going to throw for 300 yards, and the fact Ben did is not a credit to Ben. It's a discredit to our defense. Okay? There it is. Calm down. You lost to the Steelers. It happens. A lot, by the way. It's not going to define this team for the next 10 years. It simply won't. Now, if they get blown out again by Baltimore and Pittsburgh, sure. But this division is the best it's been for a very, 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 very long time. So I'm just saying, calm down. Another thing we need to calm down about, and this one I understand, okay? I understand why Twitter freaked out. I understand why people were a little nervous. I understand, and even me watching, when Joe is being trotted back out there, down 29, already with an ankle injury, future of the franchise. Sit the man down, right? That's the smart thing to do. That's the intelligent thing to do. Why on earth would you leave him out there to get hit? Who cares about toughness? You've lost. It's over. But here's the thing. Here's the thing. I have seen so many times, whether it was Carson Palmer, Andy Dalton, Ryan Fitzpatrick, Ryan Finley, I don't even know who else has played this Steelers team, A.J. McCarron. I have seen so many times Bengals quarterbacks get their brains beat in by the Steelers, and you see them on the sideline, and they're grimacing. And they look beat up. They look beat to hell, and the whole team looks beat to hell. What was important about that moment from Joe Burrow, and his post-game comments were very eloquent in this day. He said, I'm not a quitter. I'm not going out of the game whether we're down 100, down 10, down 50. Then he said, I can't wait to play them again. Because that's the type of culture you need. That's the type of culture you need. Joe Burrow was in an intense amount of pain on the sideline, but you didn't see it. He did not let it show. He refused. You could tell he almost wanted to cry. His ankle looked like it hurt that bad. And yet, he refused to even limp. He wanted to walk. He didn't want to hobble. He hobbled off the field once, came right back on. Walking, straight face, no pain. It doesn't matter. And that permeates through an organization and through a team. It permeates through a fan base. Let me put it this way. I got a Joe Burrow jersey in the mail, which we ordered back in July, but it finally came. The U.S. Postal Service, excellent this time of year. But it finally came this week, and I wore it during the game. And here's the way I've been about Bengals jerseys my entire life. Whenever I wear one and it starts going wrong, I take it off. I take it off. But there was something about Joe continuing to go out there. He sucks. He can't hit any throw, whether it's the wind or not. He's off. They can't convert a third down. His face getting planted in the grass every few plays, although the line didn't do too horrible. And he sucks, and they're getting beat up, and he shouldn't go back out there. And, I wanted to take the jersey off. And then Joe's sitting there on the tablet, down 29, straight face. I know his ankle's in pain. And for some reason, it made me go, you know what? It's okay. You know what? It's fine. You know what? It doesn't matter. We get to play them again. That's Joe's point. Joe's point is that why would I give them, the most hated rival in franchise history, the one that's talking after the game, that was your welcome to the AFC North, which TJ Watt has every right to say. He says, that's what you're going to get every time you come to Pittsburgh, kid. You're going to get beat up, kid. You're going to get pushed into the grass, kid. I don't care how great of a quarterback you are. The Bengals aren't better than the Steelers. They have never been, and they never will be. Learn that lesson. That's what the Steelers were pointing at Joe Burrow and saying. Sit down. This ain't your division. We're going to beat you up. Go home. Take your bag and go home, kid. We've beat the hell out of you. And Joe said, no, I'm not sitting down. I refuse. I don't care if you're up 50. I don't care if you're up 75. I don't care if you've got 12 sacks. I don't care if my ankle is protruding out of the side of my foot. I don't care. I'm still playing. I'm still fighting. That matters, guys. That matters. Don't outthink the room. Sometimes football is a dumb guy's game, right? Sometimes you want the dumb guy a little bit. Why? Because it's a fight. It's a war. It's a battle. And sometimes in battles and wars, you do something stupid and you play through pain. And I know the logical arguments. And I know, oh, what if he gets hurt? Then the season's over. But it sounds like half of you want Penny Sewell anyway and for us to only win 4 games. So maybe that'd have been a good thing, huh? But no. Joe's about winning. Joe's about playing. Joe's about getting up after he's been hit, no matter how many times he's been hit. And he earned respect from me. He earned respect from his teammates, not just because he stayed out there, but because of the demeanor, of the calmness, of the refusal to show any pain. And you know what? I don't think they'd admit this. I think he earned some respect to the Pittsburgh Steelers. And I think that's important. That's important. Because when they disrespect a guy, it can get pretty ugly. But I think the Steelers know, hey, this is a special defense. This is a special team we got here. It's not going to be like this next year. It won't. Ben's going to be older. Defense will move around a little bit. Things will change. Assistant coaches will move. The Ravens, they already look like their dynasty's on the way out. I know they blew us out, but they already look like they're on the way out. So there's an opportunity here. There's a path that the division isn't as strong in years moving forward. Take your lumps this year. Get beat up. Get blown out. It's part of it. It's a learning experience. And I just refuse to change any of my thoughts on this team based on what I saw yesterday. Why? Because I knew it was eminently possible. It was possible. If something is possible and almost probable if you talk about it, if you'd have told me 36-10 on Friday, would you have said, no, can't happen, won't happen? No. And I think the biggest disconnect here was between the national media and those that covered the Bengals. Because those that covered the Bengals, none of us really had hope. We knew how good this Steelers team was. We knew the deficiencies of this team were the exact strengths of their team. It is a horrendous mismatch. And unfortunately for Cincinnati, they are a horrendous mismatch for the whole division. And that has to change, certainly. But there is time to change it. And things change much quicker in this league than we all realize, okay? So, maybe they get blown out twice more against the division. But I'll tell you this. They are 2-2-1. 2-2-1 against all the other divisions. And they're about to go 6-2-1 in the next 4 games. So if this team is 6-2-1 with 4 of its losses coming in division, now you're looking at a situation, okay, what if the Browns were normally bad? Raise your hand if you think the Browns are going to sustain this success for more than 2 years. Huh? I'm not raising my hand. I really don't think so. Why? Because it's Cleveland. It's Cleveland. So there's regression coming in the division, folks. This is the best division in a very long time. And it just so happens the Bengals are on the bottom of it. But the Bengals are a mid-tier team in the NFL right now because they have a top 15 quarterback. I really believe so. Top 15 quarterback. I'd take him. I think Herbert and Tua are launching up there too. I think we're looking at one of the greatest draft classes ever. Ever. So why freak out? Why change your opinion? Why? Because they couldn't go into Heinz Field and win with a rookie quarterback in the first 8-0 Steelers team ever? Like, come on. Like, if the Steelers were bad, I'd understand, but we want to come out here and say, oh, well, they're not a very good 8-0 team. Well, what the hell does that mean? Now they're not a very good 9-0 team. I mean, come on. Like, what type of disrespect are Cincinnati Bengals fans? You're really going to do that? You're gonna bury the rival and say that their 9-0 team isn't very good? No, I'm not about that. The Steelers were always going to win this game. And I think we all knew that from 3 minutes from the game started. They were always going to win this game, okay? Get over it. Get over it. Don't change your opinion. Don't change your thoughts, right? If you still thought Zach Taylor was a bad coach, guess what? Opinion didn't change. But if you thought he was a good coach, I'm not sure he should change his opinion now. Now, I get 36-10, 49-13, double bye weeks. 49-13 was last year after the bye against a division rival. I get that, and that is a really worrying sign. But guess what? I thought Zach Taylor was a bad coach before. But 2-6-1? When we started this 5-game stretch, Baltimore, Indianapolis, Tennessee, Cleveland, and Pittsburgh, that was all an 0-5 stretch. Everybody said it. Nobody said 3-2. Some said maybe they can go 2-3. And most said if they can go 1-4, it's a success. Guess what? They went 1-4. They won a game. Okay? They beat the Titans. They won a game. They should have won 3 games. And I know that it's the fault of coaching that they didn't win those games. But this team is much, much closer than everybody wants to admit. And it's because, I get it, it's the Steelers. Yes, I know. It sucks. It sucks so bad. It hurts me so much watching that team, that logo, beat this team and this logo I've cheered for my entire life that bad and embarrass us that thoroughly. It's embarrassing. It's degrading. I understand that. But how did you not expect it? How are you surprised? How are you blown away? How are you changing your opinion on this team? That's what I don't get. That's what I don't get. It is foolish, stupid, honestly, to think something all year long, it actually happened the exact way you kind of thought it was going to, and then change your opinion. Like, that's silly. That's illogical. That's not something we should do, okay? So if you thought this team could beat Washington, New York, and Dallas and be competitive and / win against Miami, which I did, then you should still think that's going to happen. You should still think that's going to happen. Why would anything change your mind? Only thing that could change your mind is the Joe Burrow ankle injury. But don't worry about Joe. Doesn't matter if he does have a sprained ankle. He's still going to play, and he's going to play well. That's the point of Joe. And him coming back out on that field, these little moments are going to be stories told about his rookie year. And these young players are pretty good. The culture's changing, right? Slowly. And Zach Taylor might not be the man to have at the helm. I understand that. I understand that completely. And I'm not out here defending Zach Taylor. I'm just saying, Joe's about to prop him up. They're about to beat Washington. They're about to beat New York. They're going to beat Dallas. I actually think they're going to beat the Dolphins. I think the Dolphins are going to be coming in flying high, playing Cincinnati. I think they're going to be 6-1 playing the Pittsburgh Steelers. 6-1 playing the Pittsburgh Steelers on Monday night. And there's your game that matters. There's your Super Bowl. Now let me ask you this, Bengals fans, as we're positive here to end the show, quick one, 20 minutes. Let me leave you with this. if I'd have told you, let me guarantee to you right now. Now, this is a crazy guarantee, and let's forget I made it after this show, okay? And let's not tell any Steelers fans about it. But imagine if I told you this. Hey, the Bengals are going to win on the road at Heinz Field to go 3-5-1. Oh, my God, that's incredible. That's incredible. Oh, my God. Then they're going to win 4 straight games, go 7-5-1. Then on Monday night, the Steelers are going to beat them 36-10 on national television. And then the team's going to collapse down the back end. And they finish 7-8-1. Would you rather that tale told? That story crafted? No. Because on national TV, when the spotlight's the brightest, when you could have a chance to push forward in the playoff race, Joe Burrow would have fallen flat on his face. The Bengals would have fallen flat on their face. And it would have felt, oh, so much like Marvin Lewis. But now think of this. 2 games against the division, you get blown out. Joe Burrow got blown out first time he played Alabama, right? Imposing pass rush, confusing defense, a lot of talent everywhere. A lot of similarities to those right now, especially this Ravens team and this Steelers team. 2 amazing defenses. Defenses that have the exact strengths that combat the Bengals' weaknesses. They've got cover corners and a good pass rush. That's really tough for a guy like Joe Burrow, okay? That's really tough for a guy like Tom Brady. You need an incredible arm if you're going to face pressure under 2.5 seconds and it's tight man coverage. You need a absolute hose, and even then, you probably aren't going to get away with much. But that's kind of what's been happening to Joe Burrow. So imagine the story of Joe gets to figure out, just like he did Alabama, gets to see where their pressure's coming from, understand their blitz packages, better prepare, better know, have a better feel, because that's all this guy's about is feel and rhythm and preparedness. Takes those lessons he learned from the 2 blowouts, leads his team through a winnable 4-game stretch. Let's say they lose to the Dolphins, sure, because they're not going to be favored in that game. So let's say they're 3-1, all right? So then that's 5-7-1. Heading into the Pittsburgh Steelers game, 5-7-1. Now let me tell you this story. Instead of being ascending going into the Steelers game, with a win against the Steelers already and massive expectations to sweep the Pittsburgh Steelers and steal a playoff spot, and then them falling flat on their face 36-10, imagine if Joe learns the lessons, takes the momentum, and upsets Pittsburgh on Monday night. That's a much better story. And I'd much rather take that. And that's the positive thought I want to leave you with. Is that this season will be much better remembered if the order of Bengals-Steelers games is Steelers blowout, then a Bengals win or very close loss on Monday night, rather than the other way around. Because if this team is 5-7-1, upsets Pittsburgh on Monday night, 6-7-1. They're able to beat the Texans to go 7-7-1. And let's say they lose to the Ravens there on the last game of the season, but it's closer, 7-8-1. Now you're ascending moving into the offseason. You just missed the playoffs. You're saying, man, if our defense could have played against Indianapolis and could have played against Cleveland, we're a 10-win team. 10-win team. That is a much better story told with a win on Monday night. Then you're flying into momentum for next year. So there's the only light at the end of the tunnel. Will that happen? I think so. I think that's where this season's going. I've been saying that this is where this season's going all year long. And I went back through my season predictions, and I'm not that far off. I said that they would beat the Chargers, which they nearly did. I said they'd beat the Browns on Thursday night, which they nearly did, although that one was probably more in control of Cleveland. I got those 2 wrong, but since then, some of the wins, losses have flipped, but they have played about as I expected through each of these games. I predicted Joe would have an 89.8 passer rating. Guess what he has? An 89.8. I predicted he'd have 680 pass attempts. He's on pace for that exact number. So I might be wrong, and this might play out disastrously. But so far, the team has played about how I thought, really bad in some areas. Joe's been really good in some areas. He's had rookie games because it's going to happen. And I think now this is the stretch. Now this is the stretch. This is where we're going to see it. This is where it's going to pop. And on that Monday night football game, Joe Burrow is going to plant his flag on the NFL landscape and be one of the top 5 MVP candidates heading into next season. I still believe that. Nothing about Sunday would have ever changed my mind on that. And in fact, Joe looking like a statue stoically, holding pain, refusing to show it, walking back out on the field, emboldened that belief. Because the thing I said before the game was that Joe Burrow isn't scared of the Pittsburgh Steelers. And I think that last 10 minutes of that game proved that. Proved that. He is not scared and will not be scared of that Steelers team. He might have been scared of Harry Potter when he was a kid, but he's not scared on a football field. And he refuses to show it to anybody else on the team because he knows the rest of the team was terrified yesterday. Terrified. Erickson was terrified on that first run. They were terrified. The coaching staff, they were all terrified. The only guy not terrified was Joe. And unfortunately for the Cincinnati Bengals, Joe had a bad half on a bum ankle. Otherwise, they'd have been a lot closer, and that moment there would have been much more poignant. But he came back out there. He kept fighting. He kept grinding, and that's what the Bengals will do. The Bengals will have a much better last 7 games than first 7. We've been saying that all year long. Don't change your opinion on it. Get excited for this week. We want to win games. We want this kid to win games. We want T. Higgins to break a rookie record. We want Joe to stack up yards. And we want Zach Taylor to be the guy. Because changing coaches isn't going to fix anything necessarily. It might. If Zach Taylor's not the guy, it will. But maybe we can hold on to half a hope that he kind of is. That's kind of what we want. Okay? I think 7-8-1's coming for this team. I think that that's what we're running for, and I'm excited for the second half. Stay calm. Don't let the Steelers get in your head. Don't. Refuse. Don't allow it to creep in. And I think that's an important thought. All right, we're going to go ahead and wrap it up. Expect all Bengals, Russ Heltman, later this week, maybe even tomorrow. For those of you listening on Periscope, I really appreciate it. And, Cincinnati Bengals fans, stay calm. Bring it down. It's good. It's fine. It's chill. You got Washington, New York. They're going to win some games. They're going to make some statements. Joe's going to put up some yards. He's going to put up some touchdowns. And they're going to be exciting. And they're going to be a thrilling team to watch for that Monday night game. We will be very excited for Monday night because Joe might drop 450 on the Cowboys and 4 touchdowns. So, all right, that's going to do it for the Coney today. Really appreciate it, and we'll see you next time.